Yo, what's up everybody and welcome to the Weirdness of 7.07. In this video I want to show you guys all of the crazy new stuff that they added in with the new patch, but only the things that actually change how the game is played. So to give you an example of the kind of things I'm not going to be talking about. For example, Enchantress has 8% more damage on her impetus as a talent. That's pretty strong. In fact, that is really strong. That is also something we are not going to talk about because it doesn't really change how you play Enchantress. It just makes her more powerful. But in the end, you still try to hit people with impetus from the maximum distance possible. We're going to be talking about things that change how heroes are played. Now I set up this test game right here. It's a mess, but don't worry, this all makes sense. I've kind of structured it a little bit. So we have weird talents, important talents, we have reworked abilities, reworked heroes, and then other stuff, weirdness. And yeah, I want to talk about the new items as well. Let's just get into it, right? Let's just get into it. We're going to start off with one of my favorite new items, which is the Meteor Hammer. This is one of the new items in the patch. It builds from an Ogre Axe, a Staff of Wizardry, a Ring of Regen, and a Sage's Mask. Gives you a little bit of regeneration, some good stats, it's pretty cheap. It's actually a really cool item, like in terms of stats, it's actually really solid. It has an incredibly powerful active effect. You select an AoE, and then after a 3-second delay, a meteor comes falling down. Now this delay is a channel, so if you get interrupted, the item will go on cooldown and you will lose the effect. But this meteor has some interesting properties. First of all, it's a stun, which is nice. So anything that gets hit gets stunned for 1.75 seconds. It also puts things on fire. For 6 seconds, any building will take 60 DPS and any non-building will take 115. Now this is the really important part. This thing does damage to buildings. This includes towers, shrines, barracks, and the ancient. So I go in here, I cast this on the tower, it comes crashing down. It will stun the tower, and then the tower's burning, and it does a lot of damage to it. Like, it's actually a very significant amount of damage. Now, it does have a chunky cooldown, 40 seconds is quite a while, but it is still a very powerful item, and I expect to see a lot of this. This is the kind of item you want to put into a team that doesn't have a great pushing hero, nobody that can really, like, go and break down a building, like a Pugna, for example, right? There we go. Like a Pugna, for example. So this will be an item that I expect to see a lot of. I think it's very powerful, and I personally actually like it a lot. Let's get to the next item. We have the Aeon Disc. This is an item that a lot of people are really excited about, I have seen, but from my experience it hasn't actually been super powerful. It's just very unreliable. What does it do? First, you take a vitality booster and an energy booster and a recipe to combine it into this item. This item has a 100-second cooldown and has a passive effect. When you drop below 80% HP, a strong dispel is applied to yourself and you gain a 2.5-second buff where you don't take damage and you don't deal damage. Now this is really important. You don't deal damage either, right? So it's not immunity in the sense that you can now do whatever you want. It's really meant as a defensive tool. Now, the big problem with this item is that it only triggers after you're below 80% HP. Now let me go and show this off. So ideally, you get jumped, right? Enemy nukes runs in on you and throws down a bunch of these and boom, you purge yourself out of it. You can run around and it's great, it's fantastic, right? That is the ideal scenario. The less ideal one is where you just take a bunch of damage and then it triggers and doesn't actually do anything except preventing a little bit of damage afterwards, but not for a very, very long time. For the price, I personally think this item may be a little bit weak. Right, it is a very powerful effect. It's just so easy for an enemy to play around it. It does, however, prevent initiation. That is the important thing to keep in mind here, right? As a defensive tool, it's something that allows you to stop them from jumping you, right? Like, if the enemy team always goes on you first and always wants to kill you first, this is a way to deal with that. Let's say they have a Beastmaster. Beastmaster comes in every single team fight you get roared. Well, you could get a Lincoln's, but you already have one, and it's not working. They're always canceling that. So now you're just desperate, because you really need to actually be able to do something in these fights. That's where the Aeon Disc comes in super handy, right? That's when it's very, very powerful. But then again, on a lot of heroes, I feel like BKB is just a better option, right? Like, frankly speaking, you have to compare an item like this to BKB, and BKB is just really good. So, yeah, it's interesting. I feel like they're going to work around a little bit with it and probably going to reduce the value of it. I feel like 80% is too high. They're probably going to reduce it down to like 70 or 60. And then I can see this item actually being really powerful. Next up, we have the Spirit Vessel. The Spirit Vessel is an upgraded urn. That's literally all it is. It upgrades from an urn, it takes a vitality booster, a windlace, and a Spirit Vessel recipe. It's got great stats on it. It's actually fantastic. I've been playing a lot with this item. I really love it. It's very powerful. What does it do? Well, it works just like urn, except it's better, right? So you activate it on an enemy. Now they don't heal anymore. Or well, they do heal, but less, right? Only 30% as opposed to the full 100%. It does damage per second, and then it has weird phrasing on there, which says it reduces health by 3% of current health per second. That sounds weird, but it's actually pretty straightforward. What it does is it deals 3% of the current HP in damage per second. I don't know why they don't just phrase it like that, but oh well. The same thing is true for the ally effect. So it increases health by 1% of current health per second. So it heals you by 1% of your current health. And then it also heals 35 health per second. It also increases healing and regeneration. It's really powerful. Just to kind of show it off a little bit, but I'm going to cast this item on the Nyx Assassin right here. This guy has 9,000 HP. Right, but because it has that percentage-based benefit, you can tell that it actually does a really good chunk of damage, right? Like, we're almost down to, yeah, this item just did 2,000 damage to this Nyx Assassin, even though, right, like, even though it's just a pretty cheap item. So, it's nice because it scales based on how strong your enemies are. I really like this item. I think it's very powerful, and I expect to see a lot of it. Then we have the Kaya. The Kaya is not as interesting in my opinion. It's currently, so this item I think currently lacks an upgrade. Like if it had an upgrade it would be great, but it doesn't have one. What does it do? It gives you 16 intelligence. It builds the same way the Sage or the Yasha does. It takes a Staff of Wizardry, a Robe of the Magi, and then a 500 gold recipe. Gives you 10% spell amplification, which is actually awesome. That's a lot of spell amp. And then it reduces your mana costs by 10% and your mana loss by 10%. Now, what does this mana loss thing mean? Well, let me go ahead and show it to you. Right, so we have our Nyx right here. He's gonna blast us for 405. Now, you gotta keep in mind, if we equip this, we gain 16 intelligence, which makes this more effective by, what is it, 90? Right, so we should lose 495. We go ahead and cast this on us. We currently have 600 mana, right? Boom. Still 405. Sorry, wasn't fully equipped. So we have almost 1500 mana, right? We do that. 485. My math is terrible. But as you can see, we didn't actually lose 485. We actually lost a little bit less than that. Well, 10% less than that. From my experience, that effect hasn't been very powerful, right? Like the mana loss isn't that significant. The 10% spell amp is really strong though, and in certain situations you really want to go for that. Like it just hurts. 10% spell amp is a lot of damage. And then we have the Nullifier. This is an item that I've seen a lot of people get really hyped about. Personally, I don't really see it, but this item has a terrible build-up. It uses a Helm of Iron Will and then a Sacred Relic. Helm of Iron Will is a great item to have, right? Like, it's an item you want to buy in a laning stage on basically every hero, if you have an excuse for it, because it's just so good. But then the Sacred Relic is really expensive. The stats it gives you are terrible. 65 damage, 5 armor, and 5 HP region is awful. For 100 mana, on a 14-second cooldown, you dispel the target and mute them for 5 seconds. What does mute mean? Muting means disabling their items, right? So you can see right here I have a Ghost Scepter, I have a Mjolnir, I can activate my Ghost Scepter and all of that. But if I apply this, then now I can't activate my Ghost Scepter because I'm muted. Not only does it do that, but it also slows people by 100% if they get attacked. So we have our Nyx Assassin, we're going to have him walk around a little bit. Right, so currently it doesn't do any sort of slow. A little bit at first, but then now anytime he is attacked, he gets slowed by a lot. The problem with the item is really that it's so expensive, and that the stats it gives you are really bad. The effect is incredibly powerful, but the values on it are just not good enough. Now, let me go and actually talk about that for a second. I believe they have made the Nullifier intentionally bad. I think this is not an accident that this item is bad. I think it is fully 100% intentional from their side that they made this item not as powerful as the others. The reason for that is because Mute, traditionally speaking in Dota, is an effect that is A, very rare, and B, very powerful. Right? It is so good. So good. Oh, by the way, I think I misspoke earlier. This item doesn't slow people by 100, it slows them by 100%, which puts them at 100 movement speed, right? Just want to make that clear really quick. But the thing is that Mute is incredibly powerful. There's only 2 effects outside of the Nullify that actually apply Mute, which is Doom and Disruptor's Aghanim's ultimate. So in game design, there's something called opportunity cost. I think that's the term used for it. It's usually very commonly referred to in the context of card games, so Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering. Let's look at Hearthstone. I just want to use this as an example to kind of explain this. In Hearthstone, for example, you have a 4-mana, 4/5 creature you can play, right? And that's just kind of like the average stats. Like a 4-mana, 4/5 creature is like fair and balanced. Like that's good stats. Now, if you want to give it more stats than that, right? If you want to make it a 4-mana, 5/6, you have to give it a downside. And that card exists. It's called, shit, I forgot the name. But it's a 4-mana, 5/6, your hero takes 5 damage. Or if you give it if you want to give it a positive effect, you reduce the stats on the card. So if you want to have it have Taunt, for example, you make it a 4-mana 3/5 with Taunt, right? So you kind of make sure that it always stays around that ballpark of being a 4-mana 4/5, and if you add something positive to it, you reduce the stats and so on. The thing is, in the context of Dota, we know the opportunity cost for a lot of things. We know how much Hex is worth. We know how much Silence is worth, right? Because these things have been in the game for a long time. Let's think about Hex for a second. We have 10 Strength, 10 Agility, 35 Intelligence, and 2.25 Mana Regen. And then we gain the Hex effect. If we think about that, Cypher-wise, if we just look at the stats, it's garbage. It is garbage. It's terrible. I would never pay almost 6,000 gold for 10 strength, 10 agility, 35 intelligence, and 2.25 mana regen. That is just not worth it. But the thing is, it can have stats this weak because the active component, the Hex, is so powerful that we are willing to pay that cost to gain that benefit. Now, because Mute is new to the game, and we don't know how valuable Mute is, I believe that they decided to go and make it a little bit worse than it should be to figure out the actual cost of putting Mute on an item and then making that item balanced later. Just figuring out how much is Mute actually worth in the context of Dota, and then we'll adjust those the stats on the item as we go along. There we go. All right, cool. So that's just my opinion, though. That's just what I think, right? Like, you may have a different opinion there. You can feel free to let me know, chat, like what you guys think. But that's why I believe this item isn't really very good right now, right? But I do think it's fully intentional, and I do believe it will be fixed. And I think it's also going to be a staple of Dota, like, because the Mute effect is so powerful. Question, muted is not silenced? No, if you're muted, you're not silenced. It just disables your items. Right, it doesn't silence you. So if I go and show this off right here, right, this Nyx Assassin is muted right now, but can still cast just fine. It only disables items. So, cool. We've got that out of the way. Next up, we do have some very significant item changes other than that. First of all, Iron Talon got removed. It's no longer in the game, right? So if you're looking for that, it doesn't exist. Much more importantly than that, though, Poor Man's Shield has also been removed. Poor Man's Shield does no longer exist. In my opinion, the strongest item in Dota pre-patch, right? Just like far and beyond, like far and beyond the strongest item. So good. They just straight up removed it. I was very surprised to see that, but at the same time, I understand it and I do agree with it. So that is really important now. Poor Man's Shield is gone now. So get ready to buy a lot more regeneration if you're playing melee heroes. We also had some smaller reworks. We had the Evelance was reworked. Evelance now doesn't give Spell Amp anymore. It does give a little bit of additional cast range though, right? So previously it was 220, now there's 250. And then we have the Diffuser Blade. the diffuser blade no longer has stacks on it, or charges, I guess, right? Instead, it just has like this active component on the 15-second cooldown. It also now doesn't purge anymore, and even though the active is called purge, they should probably change that. But it doesn't purge anymore, and it also doesn't upgrade anymore. Then we have a pretty big rework. We have the Monkey King Bar. The Monkey King Bar now gives 60 attack speed. It doesn't take Demon Edge anymore to build. Instead, it uses a Hyperstone. The Javelin has been reworked. Now, a Javelin gives you a 25% chance to pierce through evasion and deal 100 bonus damage. The Monkey King Bar itself gives you 60 attack speed, and then a 75% chance to pierce through evasion and deal 60 bonus damage. So you will pierce through evasion very often. You will trigger Monkey King Bar very often. People have talked about, oh, Monkey King Bar doesn't count evasion anymore, right? I just want to go ahead and make sure that we are all on the same page here. That is not true. Monkey King Bar still counters evasion. It is, first of all, it's much cheaper than before. So the Javelin is only 1100 gold. That has actually been reduced in cost. Was 1500 before. Now Hyperstone, of course, is cheaper than the Demon Edge. So you get it earlier. But Monkey King Bar, and this is really important to keep in mind, Monkey King Bar against a fully stacked out Phantom Assassin, you actually only have, like, I believe, a 3% chance to miss. Like, it's really very low. Like, this essentially counters evasion. Right, so yes, you are occasionally going to miss if you're going up against somebody with evasion, even though you have a Monkey King Bar. But in the grand scheme of things, seen in the long term, it really still counters evasion, right? Do not freak out. This item is still the go-to item if you're going up against a Phantom Assassin. Except for, you know, I guess, Silver Edge. But yeah. Cool. So we've got that figured out, right? Let's go ahead and look at Roshan. Roshan had an interesting little situation. He now drops a new item, right? So you can see it right here. This is the Refresh Shard. Resets the cooldown of all your items and abilities. Now, let me go ahead and give myself a refresher really quick. So we've got a refresh in our inventory right here. Now, this Roshan also drops cheese and edges. This only happens after the third kill. So, first kill, you just get an edges. Second kill, you get cheese and edges. Third kill, you get cheese, edges, and a refresher shard. So, let me go and just spam you down really quick. Oh, by the way, we're in what the fuck mode. That's why he's spamming so much. Oh, shit. You know what? I feel like I need some more firepower here. Yeah, I gotta get rid of this guy somehow. Let me just go ahead and buy some items really quick. Because we actually really gotta deal a bit more damage, man. This guy is scary. Skadi, by the way, also doesn't use an Orb of Venom anymore. But that's one of those smaller changes, right? Like, this is something that's kind of important to keep in mind here. There are a lot of changes in this new patch. I'm not including all of them because I want to keep this shorter. This is going to be like an hour-long video as is. Right, but I'm not including everything intentionally. So in case you're wondering why is there something missing, well, that's because I actually intentionally excluded it. Now, one thing you may have noticed here already, Roshan no longer just dispels illusions. Illusions now deal less damage to Roshan, but they don't disappear. So that's kind of important to keep in mind. It's another buff to Phantom Lancer. Phantom Lancer has been really popular over the past few days, you know, ever since the patch. But, yeah, so, you know, Roshan doesn't just dispel illusions anymore, which means you can use illusions to tank him, you can use illusions to actually deal damage to him and all of that, which is kind of neat, I guess, I don't know. But anyway, we're going to drop ourselves this right here. So, there is our refresher shard, that's what it looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this. We pick that up. So, if I now do this, right, I go ahead and I have my doppelganger. I refresh my doppelganger, I do this, nice. I refresh here, and I do my doppelganger again. The reason why I had a refresh orb in my inventory is because I wanted to show you that you can't refresh a refresher orb. Right, so they do share cooldowns like that. You can, however, you know, like resurrect like 4 times with your Wraith King if you really want to. Like that is an option you have now. This item, to me, is really just them saying, you killed Roshan 3 times, why? Why is this game still going on? Like, seriously, can you just end it already? But yeah, so that's kind of, you know, a thing over there with Roshan. Let me just check really quick. Oh yes, there's another thing regarding neutral creeps that I really quickly want to cover. Neutral creeps, you can see right here, these are just our regular old neutral creeps. If I run in here, they will aggro me because they are really aggressive because somebody entered into their house. And that's kind of rude and all of that, but that's fine. So they will chase me down and then go back into their camp. During nighttime, neutrals now fall asleep. Now, this works just with the regular clock. This also works with Night Stalker Ultimate. You can see these are now asleep. During nighttime, you cannot trigger them just by being next to them. Right? Like, it doesn't work that way. You can only trigger them by actually doing damage to them. So if I go ahead and attack one of them, then yes, they will still aggro me. But they will not do it on their own. So that's kind of important to keep in mind in terms of stacking and all of that. If it's nighttime, you actually want to go and hit them, right? Else they won't follow you. Alright, I think that's mostly it. There are some map changes, right? So you can see that the shrine is here now, the rune is here. They have mostly swapped around the shrine and rune positions. And some smaller map changes up here. I guess this would be one of the bigger ones. But overall, grand scheme of things, the map is largely the same with some minor changes, right? In the base, the shrines, even though these look like shrines, these are not shrines. They do not have a shrine effect, and if you try to use them as a shrine, you will have a bad time. And let's get to heroes. This is the real meat of this thing, right? This is the real exciting part. So, we have some less significant things, we have some really important things, and let's go ahead and start off with some of the less significant ones, because they're just kind of funny. Right, and kind of cool. So, Queen of Pain, level 25. She gains a Scream of Pain, 1.5 second Fear. Fear isn't really properly explained anywhere, but what Fear does is it forces people to run towards their base. It's the same effect as the Savage Roar, or Savage Roar from Beastmaster, or the Terrorize from the new Dark Willow. Right, it's actually kind of neat. Like, it's essentially kind of a like AoE stun for 1.5 seconds. It's really disruptive. So, that's something to keep in mind there. It does make enemies run towards their base, so it doesn't just like completely disable them. But yeah, I guess this guy didn't feel like running for some reason. But over. Puck at level 25 gains Dream Coil Rapid Fire. If you activate Dream Coil on somebody, then Puck will attack them. As long as he is in range, this is really important, right? It doesn't work if Puck isn't in range. So as you can see right here, I was only attacking this guy. And if I now walk away, I'm actually attacking none of them. But if I do get close enough to attack both, then I will. Or not. Alright, 7.07 is quite buggy at times. There we go. So, as long as I'm in range to attack both, I will attack both, or however many there are, right? I can also hit, is this gonna hit 3? No, only hit 2, but you can do it with 3, with 4, with 5 heroes, but you do need to be in attack range. Like, if you aren't in attack range, it doesn't do anything. We have Oracle. Now, this one I think is actually pretty significant. Oracle had a change that makes it so that you can now tell whether or not somebody's going to die based on the False Promise animation. So if, let's say, I put the False Promise on my poor little Puck right here. Right? So you can see this up here. This means the Puck is still alive. If I now hit him, still means the Puck will survive. Now, if I do enough damage to him that he will not survive, this change, oh, there we go, let's go and do that again. So still alive, this changes to a red glow. Now if I go ahead and heal him, this will go back to being the regular one and he will survive. Cool. This really helps a lot if you have an Oracle on your team. I don't know, I thought it was important. Treant Protector, this one is a little bit funny. At level 15 he can get 3 seconds tree respawn time. Now you may say, okay, what tree? Which tree? One of yours? Right? Like if you have the ultimate attached to it and all of that. No, just trees. Boom. Just trees. In general. All of them. So, yeah, juking through trees will be pretty difficult with this. Because, well, Treant Protector is not having it. He's not having it. You're attacking nature, you're attacking him. We have Kunkka with the Ghost Ship Fleet at level 25. This is not explained anymore. What it does is you summon a ghost ship and then there will be 3 more ghost ships that crash into the same location. Now this does not change on your position. They always go into the same spot. They all apply the Admiral's Rum though, so that's kind of important. It's 4 of them. They do not perma-stun, but if you have Refresher and you line it up perfectly, you can. Cool. Anti-Mage. Level 15, he gains a blink uncontrollable illusion. He blinks, an illusion spawns and will attack anything near it. Right? Like, it'll just do its own thing. You don't have any control over it. As you can see, I can't do anything with it. The main purpose of this, I think, is to push down lanes. Right? So you get some damage done on a lane and then you blink away, leave your illusion to finish it. Faceless Void has 25% backtrack. In case you don't know, Backtrack is Faceless Void's old passive, right? He used to have 2 passive abilities. One of them was Backtrack. What Backtrack did is it gave you a chance to dodge damage. Not just attacks, but just damage in general. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you that to you. Let me refresh this guy. Are we done in what the fuck mode right now? There we go. So, you can see he just didn't take damage from that. Like, doesn't mean he never takes damage, just means that if he gets lucky, he doesn't. Yeah, there we go. He didn't take damage again. There's a little bit of an animation. It's kind of difficult to see, but that's how it works. It is kind of scary at times, you know. It's really irritating if he dodges your Laguna Blade and wins a team fight because of it. But there's not really anything you can do about it. Invoker at level 20 gains Cataclysm. What is Cataclysm? Well, if you double tap Sunstrike, you will do a Cataclysm, which is 2 Sunstrikes on all enemies' locations. Let me just show it to you. This is Cataclysm. It's a pretty big deal, right? It's kind of a little bit spooky. Now, the thing about Cataclysm, it doesn't mean you can't Sunstrike anymore. You can still Sunstrike just fine. Right, like that still works. They didn't take that away from you. You can still Sunstrike. It's just if you double tap Sunstrike, then this happens. Boom. There's no guarantee these Sunstrikes connect though. Right? It's really something that's actually pretty powerful in team fights. Like it's scary if you're going up against Invoker of Cataclysm, but so that's something there. We've got Lion, AoE Hex. I think this one is really important. At level 25, he gets 325 AoE Hex. Boom. Looks like this. Instant 325 AoE disable that can be purged. Yeah, this is really powerful. It of course has some downsides, as in you need to be level 25 with Lion, but if you do get there, this is really scary. Like, this is just super, super nasty. We'll do Io in a second. We've got Lone Druid. Lone Druid has got some interesting talents. At level 25, at level 20, he gets minus 25 seconds on the Battlecry cooldown, which it usually has 45 seconds cooldown at that point, but you get it down to 20 seconds, and at level 25, Battlecry grants spell immunity. Now, this spell immunity does apply to his bear. Now, it currently applies to this Wraith King, which it shouldn't. That's just a bug of the, like, of the test mode I'm using here, but yeah, so Battlecry, right, it applies to the bear, and boom, we're magic immune. Isn't that beautiful? It's super powerful. Battlecry lasts 5 seconds. It gives you great buffs as is. And it only has a 20-second cooldown, so having magic immunity on a 20-second cooldown is actually just nasty. Like, that's just really good. So, yeah. Alright. Io. Io is a weird one. He got a bunch of cool new stuff. So let's actually, before we do Io, let me do Windranger first. Windranger's ultimate now lets her move while it's going on, and it applies less attack speed. Okay, fairly straightforward. We do this, and we can run, and we are still attacking. Now, you may notice that there's a bit of a delay while we are moving around that makes this really clunky. That's because she still has a turn rate, it's just not being animated properly. Right, because like what's really happening while I'm moving is I'm moving like this, which means I have a turnaround point, right, like this turn rate. But if I'm attacking while doing it, because of the weird moonwalking animation, that turn rate is not shown, which is why there's a bit of a delay, and which is kind of what makes this seem really clunky. Right? So, just to kind of make that a little bit clear. Now, Io now has some really interesting talents. At level 15, Tether grants Scepter bonus. Now this doesn't mean Io gets an Aghanim's, but it means that whoever he's tethered to gets Aghanim's. So if I do this, this Windranger, she doesn't get the stats, but she gets the benefit. Right, so it now means her Scepter, or like her ultimate only has 15 seconds cooldown and it has no damage reduction. Right? Now, as soon as the tether ends, she loses that benefit. So it's 70 seconds cooldown, but if we do this, then we have 15 seconds cooldown. The second talent Io gets is attack tethered ally target. So the way this works is anytime the target you are tethered to, right, the ally you are tethered to attacks somebody, Io will attack that same person. This works, you know, with stuff like just, you know, regular attacking. So if I'm, you know, just using my Windranger to just hit this guy, right, then my Io is just hitting him too. And Io can still attack regularly during this, by the way. So that's kind of neat. It works with the ultimate, as I already showed you. It also works with crazy stuff like Puxel new talent, right? So if I have, you know, my 3 heroes here, if I activate the Stream Coil, it means Puck will attack all 3 of them. If I now link up my Io to this, my Io will also be attacking all 3 of them. Now, the only problem here is, of course, that Io needs to actually do damage for this to matter, but I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I wonder if we're going to see, like, casual Maelstrom on Io or something like that to make this work, right? Maelstrom is the cheapest, highest damaging item in the game for stuff like this, for purposes like this. So I could actually see that to a certain extent. You know, like you link yourself up to a Windrunner, you get a casual Maelstrom on an Io, it's pretty cheap, and then you do a lot of damage as well. So, yeah. I've seen people do it with like Alchemist and, you know, Io go crazy, or with Desolator and all of that stuff. Personally, I don't really believe in that, but it's something that I feel like maybe a little bit of a casual investment into it could work. Maybe. I don't know. It's really weird. Mirana, her leap now has 3 charges. So we can leap once and leap twice and leap 3 times. Right here, it's what the fuck mode, of course. So if we go on what the fuck, you can see 3, 2, 1, and now we're out. They have 30 seconds replenish time. Yeah. It's kind of cute. I'm not really sure why they did that, but they did. So I guess so be it. We're gonna do Medusa last because she's kind of funny. Vengeance Aura. So Vengeance Aura is a weird one. The way this now works is if somebody around you, an ally around you dies, you will summon an illusion of that ally to attack whoever killed them for 7 seconds. That does 100% of their attack damage. So let's look at our Mirana here, right? Like she's gonna attack this guy. She does 100 damage. Now this Nyx is gonna turn around and be like, dude, I don't have all day for this bullshit. Like, fuck that. Goodbye, my friend. Goodbye. And with that, the Mirana dies. And she's now going to continue attacking him. But apparently does less damage now. I'm not sure why. She should do full damage, but... oh, well, whatever. You get the basic idea of this. It's actually really scary. Like, I have been quite... oh, I actually know why it does less damage. Because it only includes base damage, right? But anyway, not that important. Yeah. So that's kind of a little bit spooky. Actually, right now, I would like to test something. I would like to try something out really quick. I'm gonna go ahead and damage this Io until not Io, this Vengeful, until she's almost dead. So I don't know how this actually works out myself, but I want to know. So, because this also works on the Venge herself. If I kill the Venge now, she will spawn an illusion, which will attack me. Now, if I kill this... oh yeah, no, this works. So this illusion still applies that aura, which means any ally around the Vengeful that dies during the period of the Vengeful's illusion will also still get this benefit, which is kind of spooky. So that's a little bit scary. Anyway, apparently we have been killed by Bard. That's rude, Bard. Why would you do that to somebody? Alright. Cool. We're gonna save the really fancy stuff for last. We have Dazzle. Dazzle has a reworked Poison Touch. The way this now works is it selects enemies around the original target as well. And anytime you attack somebody that has Poison Touch on them, it resets. So you can see I attacked this guy twice and ran out on them, but he still has it. If I now attack him again, then he will get the Poison Touch again. It doesn't have to just be me, can be somebody else. As long as they attack, Poison Touch keeps going on. Now, something that's also important to keep in mind here is that Poison Touch doesn't stack with itself anymore. So I can apply 700 Poison Touches and it's still only one of them. Cool. I'll be honest with you, the carry Dazzle mid-stream is a little bit alive. Just a little bit. It sounds kind of fun. Alright. We've got Slaughter. Slaughter's new sprint at level 4, and only at level 4, will make him move at 700 movement speed in the river. That's the only change. Other than that, it works just as before. So I have no boots, as you can see. I'm moving with 417 movement speed. As soon as I enter the river, I have 700 movement speed. Just like slipping around the place. It's kind of crazy. Also, don't mind Stan. We put him into the corner of shame. Like, don't worry about Stan. He's fine. But yeah, so Slaughter can kind of sip around and be really, really nasty. This is actually kind of crazy in my opinion. Like, I feel like people are just gonna max sprint first these days. I mean, people were already doing that occasionally, but like now with that change for sure. Poor mid. Poor mid. Like, as somebody who likes to play mid a lot, it's gonna be terrifying to have this like race car Slaughter just come crashing in with maximum, more than maximum movement speed. Let me tell you about one of the more crazy new things in this patch. One of the crazier talents. We have Lich. Ice Armor provides 30 HP regen. This one is kind of hidden away, and I feel like people aren't really talking about it, but I think this one is insane. Now, it is at level 25, so if you are playing Lich, you're unlikely to get to level 25. But admittedly, Lich is more likely to get there than really any other support. Now, what's important to keep in mind about this, right, is you can cast the Lich Ice Armor on buildings. Which means that the regeneration also applies to buildings. And you can see that with, now that building has 9 additional armor, 30 health regen and slows anything that attacks it. This makes it incredibly difficult to break through a tower like this. And in fact, a single cast of Ice Armor lasts 40 seconds. Times 30, you know, the regeneration, means that casting this on a tower once will heal it for 1200 HP. A level 25 Lich will be incredibly difficult to push against, because he actually heals buildings so much faster than a Treant Protector ever could. He's so good at defending towers, it's absolutely insane. I mean, again, this right here is a Puckner, right? Like, with what the fuck mode, and you can see it's just easy peasy. Like, you just heal it up. It just heals it up. Let me actually do a little bit of an experiment, right? So we've got Unwhat the Fuck mode Pucker. We'll wait until this tower is full HP. And I want to see how long it takes this level 25 Puckner to just break down this tower. Right? Like, can he even do it? So we're gonna go ahead and throw down this. Okay, we did one. We're waiting. We're gonna do another one. I don't think it's actually really possible. No, I just can't. You can see that I hardly do any damage. Now, if I go ahead and I actually go ahead and get myself my talents here, let's go ahead and get ourselves some talents. Alright, make sure we max this all out. I actually kind of... Oh, shit. Oh, no, partner. Alright, we're good. Because I gotta heal my partner up really quick. Wait, why can't I not cast this on there? Aw. Alright, whatever. Let's refresh this. So, we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing again. Now this is a level 25 Puckner with all of his talents fully ready. Let's see how long this takes. Like, you can see, this takes forever. People are saying that the tower is protected by backdoor protection. No, tier 1 towers do not have backdoor protection. This is a tier 1 tower. Tier 1 towers do not have backdoor protection. So this is not protected by backdoor protection. This is just Lich. This is just Lich. I mean, I think it's insane. I think it's absolutely insane. But anyway. So if you are going up against a Lich, try your hardest to end the game before he gets to level 25. Because after, you are going to struggle a lot. It is going to be very difficult. So, Enchantress. This is one that was kind of hidden in the patch notes a little bit. But enchant now purges.
Where are you going?
That's really nice. That is really nice. That is really powerful.
Here I come.
Rubik. He now has null field with a toggle. And you can toggle between offense and defense. Defense gives your team 22% magic resistance. Offense reduces enemy heroes' magic resistance by 22%. So as you can see, we have the null feed going on magic damage resistance decreased by 22%. Right? These guys have a hood. What this guy's got? Yeah, this guy currently got 8% magic resistance. So that's pretty damn nice, right? Bane. This is one that people are getting quite excited about. So if you now nightmare somebody, right, you can attack them and not break the sleep. This in of itself isn't really that strong, but it gets a little bit more spooky if you get the level 10 that talent, which enfeeble now steals damage. Right, so what you do is you enfeeble somebody, then you sleep them, now we deal 120 extra damage, and all of a sudden we are actually able to hurt them quite a bit, especially in the early game, right? Like you can do this at level 10, and at level 10 that is scary, right? That is absolutely terrifying. Shadow Fiend, he has 10% spell amp at level 10, want to point that out really quick, it's amazing, it's super good. Shadow Races have also been mildly reworked, that they now deal less starting damage, but if you hit a Shadow Race, they'll apply a debuff for 8 seconds, and if you then hit with another Shadow Race, you'll deal more damage, right? So the first Shadow Race does 300, right? The second one does a little bit more, and so on. Now this is where it gets a little bit spooky, because you can actually stack these buffs infinitely, right? Like you can keep this going. If you pay attention right here, we've got how much damage right now? 352. Now we've got 387, 422. This just goes on. You can just have infinite damage from these Shadow Races. Yeah. I already played a game of Caster Carry Shadow Fiend. It's amazing. It's so good. You do so much damage with spells, especially with his new talents, right? 10% spell amp, 150 Shadow Race damage, 40% cooldown reduction. It's insane. So please give Caster Shadow Fiend a shot. We've got Templar Assassin. Her traps now apply like damage over time effect if they are fully charged. So we go ahead and do this. Right, they are now ready. And if I trigger this, there we go. You can see this Medusa should be taking damage, except she's not for some reason. Was it not fully charged? I know, things are a little bit inconsistent in here. Boom, there we go. There we go. Now she's taking a little bit of damage. All right, it's not huge. It's not super significant. The damage from this really is mostly just, hey, do you like stopping people from blinking away from you? It's really just an anti-blink tool. It's not gonna actually kill anything. It doesn't do enough damage for that, but it stops them from blinking away. Whew, cool. We're done with most of the non-important ones. Oh, actually, no. No. We're mostly done with the non-important ones. So, let's get into the other reworks. We have Razor. His old passive has been changed. It now still gets a movement speed. It does the same damage as before, but it triggers on a random target within the AoE every 5 seconds. So AoE is pretty small. If I run into the jungle right here, into the creep camp, you can see, boom, we've got 190 damage. And then it goes on cooldown. The enemy that gets hit by this, again, selected at random, gets purged and gets slowed. And that's it. At level 25, you can make it minus 3 seconds. From my experience, this ability hasn't been like super overwhelming, but it's okay. It's not great. It's not terrible. Brood Mama. So, spiders. I want to go ahead and say this really quick. The spiders now have a lot more resistances. They have less HP, but the overall resistances are so much higher that they have more effective HP overall. So that's kind of something to keep in mind here. Also, web no longer makes her go invisible. Like, we can stay in the web forever. We are just not invisible. Everything else stays the same. She just doesn't go invisible, except for one thing. Now, if she gets attacked, she can still walk over cliffs. That makes her the mega cancer in my eyes. Like, that's gonna be so annoying to go up against. But yeah, no, that's kind of it. Oh. Well, those birds are aggressive. Holy shit, they're all the way down here. Alright, let's bring those back really quick. Okay, then. But yeah, so that's kind of like the rework on the Brood Mama. Don't buy detection against her anymore. She doesn't have invisibility. I was playing a game yesterday and somebody got dust against her. And I'm like, I get it. She looks the same, but she doesn't go invisible anymore. She just does not. This is not a thing that she does. So, Yeah, you get more webs too. Yeah, you get a few more webs. Like, not a maximum amount, you just get more charges. It's nice, don't get me wrong. Like, it's a nice little interesting change. Hey, Troy McClure, thanks for the sub. Thank you very much. So, we've got Chen. This is one that's also been kind of passed over a little bit, I think. So, Chen now only has 4 abilities. Penitence stays the same. Test of Faith can still be used as you used it before, which is just a nuke, right? Boom, does damage. But you can also use it to heal allies, as you can see right here. You can even use it on yourself, and if you use it on yourself, it always does the maximum amount. The healing is halved. That's like half of the damage it would deal, right? So it does 200 to 400 damage, but it heals 100 to 200 life. So Chen has another healing tool, which I think is pretty cool. Holy Persuasion. Now, if you dominate a creep, works just as before. But if you cast it on an ally, so let's say I want to go ahead and send this Dazzle back to base, then boom, back to base they go. Back to base they go. If I cast it on myself, I'm going to get my creeps. There they are, right? And they get teleported to me. And I can do this and send them back to base. So it kind of just merges the 2 other abilities Chen had before. I actually really like this change because, like, why did he need 5 abilities? That was just weird, right? So, cool. Alright, now we've got... actually, we've got one smaller thing here. The Visage. So, this one is really difficult to show in here. But the birds no longer have attack charges, instead they always deal maximum attack damage. And also, if you use Grave Chill on somebody, the birds actually get the effect as well. It's pretty important, because like they actually just do massive amounts of damage with that. So, respect this guy, he actually got a pretty big buff. Morphling. Dude, this one is just weird. This one is just really weird. Now, let me go in and actually skill Morphling targets allies. Usually, or Morph targets allies. Usually, you can only use this on enemies, but, you know, we're gonna get it anyway. So, Waveform, the same as before. Adaptive Strike has been split into 2 abilities. You skill them at the same time, right? But Adaptive Strike Strength and Agility, you can use independently from each other. Let me actually go ahead and unwhat the fuck this to like kind of show it a little bit. So I'm using my Adaptive Strike Agility here. It goes on a little bit of a cooldown, but not too much, right? You can still use them mostly independently from each other. Much more importantly, Attribute Shift, Agility and Strength Gain now don't have a mana cost, and they are much faster than before. So you can see I'm just morphing between Strength and Agility like it's nothing, right? So you can just like shift around like crazy. And this is super important in the laning stage. Like in a laning stage, with a set of tangles, you have infinite health. Because you just always morph back into agility and just heal yourself up to full. It's crazy, right? I think the playstyle you're meant to do is like, you know, like constantly shift it around during fights, but it's really tricky. Morph is also weird now. If you use it on an enemy, you become that enemy. You gain their abilities, you can use their abilities. Sadly, I haven't skilled any, so... we should probably undo that really quick. But you can also transform back. You do not get the ultimate, which is really important. But as you can see here, right, I can now use this, and I can burn mana if I want. I don't have Vendetta, but I can transform back, which is, you know, important. With the level 20 talent, you can do it on allies, but the same thing is true there. You get their abilities, but you don't actually get the... ultimates. Okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do with this hero. Like, I played him yesterday, and I just don't know what to do with him. I was really confused, really weird, really fucking weird. Beastmaster, one of my favorite changes of the patch. This guy's super cool. Wild Axes, they now apply damage amps per stack. So if you hit somebody with the Wild Axes, then you will do more damage to them. So let me go ahead and show this off. If I go ahead and hit this guy, you can see I do... how much? Okay, maybe I can't see it. Alright, the game isn't properly showing it, whatever. Just believe me then. Alright, so now they have this debuff on them, and now Beastmaster and all of his units will deal more damage to that unit. I wonder if you can, like, stack multiple. Oh yeah, you can totally stack multiple. That's kind of funny. Only got an 8-second cooldown. How long does it last? Well, actually, how long does it last? Seems pretty long. It doesn't say on the ability. Anyway. His Call of the Wild has also been changed. At level 3, you get the Hawk. It's only one ability now, right? So level 1, you get boar level 1. Level 2, you get boar level 2. Level 3, you get boar level 3 and the Hawk. Level 4, you get boar level 4, a Hawk, and a random neutral. Now, this random neutral is from a list, and I have the list somewhere. Yeah, here it is. So, you select a random neutral that is either the Alpha Wolf, the Hellburst Smasher, the Satyr Tormentor, the Centaur Conqueror, or the Dark Troll Summoner. This neutral has the same duration as the other summons, and it's just that neutral. It has the same stats, same damage, same abilities, all of that stuff. Roar now also gives all of your stuff movement speed. So if we go ahead and we walk around like this, right, we're not that fast. Let me go and resummon this really quick. So we're not really all that fast, but if I go and I roar somebody, now you can see we actually are a little bit quicker. This just allows you to close in on people. Played this guy yesterday. He's super powerful, super cool. Really love this change. It's very interesting. It's very strong. Like, Beastmaster is super strong now. Tiny. Probably my least favorite change. So, Tiny now has 0 starting agility and 0 agility gain per level. Why? Because it's funny. He also has a new ability. He doesn't have craggy exterior anymore, so he has no actually inherent way of gaining armor. Instead, he has tree grab. If you pick up a tree with tree grab, you get a tree, which is kind of like your old Aghanims. If you hit something, you do splash damage, right? So you can see, there we go. You can see I do splash damage. Nice, right? Great, isn't it? You can throw the tree at things, which takes forever, and that's it. It does give you bonus damage, and it does give you bonus damage to buildings. It says old Aghanims, and this is really important. You don't want to buy Aghanims on Tiny anymore, because he doesn't actually have an Aghanims effect. Grow has also been changed and now gives him 40% status resistance, which is kind of neat, I guess. I don't know. Makes it so he gets, you know, less affected by stunts and all of that. I don't like this change. Viper. This guy's really cool. So, poison attack now includes the old Never Toxin. It also lasts longer, and so the way this works is for every % of HP the enemy is missing, you do 1 magic damage to them on the poison attack tick. So Never Toxin previously worked. You want to attack enemies as often as possible because you kind of like do more damage the lower they are on HP. This right here lasts 3 seconds and it will tick 3 times. So if you only attack them once every 3 seconds, that's fine. Right, but you can see right here, it only does 1 damage right now. We keep hitting him. Now we're doing 3 damage, we're doing 4, we're doing 5, we're doing 7. And now it's going to tick again, 9, right, because he's healing and all of that. It slows, it does attack speed slows and all of that. Never Toxin, the new Never Toxin. The way this works is you select an AoE, deals damage in the AoE, reduces magic resistance in the AoE, has a very low cooldown, only 5 seconds, very low mana cost, only 75 seconds. This is the best farming ability in the game. It just is. It just straight up is the best farming ability in the game. It is insane. 1 cast of Never Toxin kills an entire creep wave. It kills many creep camps. It is so good. It is so good. Not only does this do damage over time though, but it also breaks, which means it disables passives, right? So Medusa right here has a passive, but no more because she has Never Toxin on her. Corrosive Skin is pretty much the same as before, except it doesn't do a movement speed slow anymore. There's also a weird talent this hero has, which it says 6 Corrosive Skin DPS, but actually take a look at these values really quick. 32, 25, 32. If I scale this up, it is 38, 31, and 38. It's actually not plus 6 Corrosive Skin DPS, it's just plus 6 Corrosive Skin everything, right? So that's really important. Viper Strike, same as before. Now, the really important thing about Viper, about the new Viper. First of all, this is the best farming ability in the game. It just is. Keep that in mind. It is so good. Secondly, at level 20, Viper gets poison attack affects buildings. Now, poison attack does magic damage, right? I previously just did a set amount, but it now scales with how little HP whatever has that you're attacking, right? I'll just show it. It's so good. Also level 25 Never Toxin silences. This hero is very powerful. So you go ahead and you hit this tower, right? You can see it now does 30, 32, 34. Right? Like the magic damage just adds up. Now it does 38, 40, 43. Right, with just a few attacks. This Never Toxin, or this Poison attack, is actually breaking through this tower like it's nothing. This hero melts buildings. It's insane. It is absolutely nuts how quickly this new Viper, with this level 20 talent, can actually break through buildings. Do you see how much this does? Also, can you chill? These bots are not having my bullshit. Alright. But I think you get the point, right? Let me go then on what the fuck this. So, Poison attack does so much damage so quickly. It kills buildings like it's nothing. It is really, really, really powerful. It is really powerful. I really like this Viper. So yeah. Alright, let's do Medusa. We saved this one for last because it's kind of fun. So Medusa now has Split Shot. Well, she did have it before, but Split Shot works differently now. It always has 3 additional targets, and the damage is only reduced on the additional targets, right? So if I attack this guy, well, I can't attack him. If I attack this guy, right, like this guy takes full damage, these guys don't. Alright? Cool. Cool. You just gotta trust me on this. It's kind of difficult to showcase. This is where it gets funny though. This is why I saved this for last. This is maybe gonna crash the game. At level 25, she gets Split Shot, uses modifiers, which kind of looks like this. Yeah. She does a lot of lightnings. Also, this is beautiful, isn't it, man? Does that not feel great? Oh yeah, that feels great. Anyway. She essentially becomes Drow Ranger, but just really nasty at level 25. It's kind of cool. Honestly, I don't think it changes that much. It's not that important. Like, the most significant thing is really that Split Shot uses modifiers. So actually going for, like, Mjolnir is really good on her now. Like, it's really good on her. Now, before we are done here, which we are almost, I want to go into, I want to close this lobby and go into another, like, testing thing really quick and show you 3 more heroes. Those are Spectre, Techies, and Clinks. And then that is the weirdness of 7.07. I know this was quite long, I'm sorry, but there's just a lot to it and I wanted to show all of it, right? So, let's go ahead and start out with Spectre. Actually, let's start out with Techies, if I can find him. There he is. So, we're gonna go ahead and demo this guy really quick. We're gonna go ahead and demo this guy really quick. Techies at level 25 gets a funny little talent. It's really mostly funny, it's not very good. But 25 mines movement speed. What does this mean? Well, it means the following. The mines have 25 movement speed. Yes. Does this work with all of them? Yes, it does work with all of them. It's kind of a little bit stupid. Right, doesn't work with the minefield sign. If it worked with the minefield sign, it would actually be insane, but I mean, this is dumb. Right? Like, I don't even know. I don't even have a different word for it. This is just not good. Because it's just so slow. You know, if it was, I don't know. Actually, wait, I just had an interesting thought. Can I stack these on top now? Oh yeah, you can actually stack these on top of each other now. So, I guess this is really the main point. Right, this means you can have multiples of these stacked on top of each other, which is kind of decent, I suppose. Maybe. Dude, like, I'm really trying here. This is just not that good. Like, it's funny, don't get me wrong. It's just, Alright, anyway. But yeah, this is right here is the most powerful part of this. Like, the fact that you can stack them on top of each other. Anyway. Let me go and create a hero, Spectre, enemy, there we go. Oh shit, no, you get away from this, thank you. So Spectre, her Desolate now has an interesting new property, it reduces vision. So if I go ahead and attack this, you can see that my techies can actually see less. If we level up, bots, 20, shit. We level the bots to 25, there we go. Right, we hit that. You can kind of see it a little bit more. I'll be honest with you, this is really difficult for me to showcase. It's just really difficult because, like, you know, I'm kind of on my own here. But, yeah, you will lose vision. You can see it a little bit up here, right? While you have the Spectre Desolate going on. Just keep that in mind. It's actually pretty impactful. And then I just want to show Clings really quick. Oh, rip you. Ooh. Create hero Clings and create hero Vengeful Enemy. There we go. Can you not kill each other? Thank you. So Clings has kind of a interesting new strafe. It gives him more attack speed, but it also has a reduced cooldown and a reduced duration, and it also gives him the chance to automatically dodge up to 3 projectiles. Now, what does that mean? 3 projectiles includes attacks, which kind of looks like this. So he dodges it. All right, only 3 seconds, but it includes specific spells. It doesn't include a lot of spells. Like, for example, I tried it with Medusa Snake, and that didn't work. Of course, it only includes single target projectile kind of spells, right? Because it's very clear about being projectiles, but it's still kind of It's of course nice if you do actually get a dodge on something. Now, what's important to keep in mind here, your strafe will actually run out if you dodge 3 things. As you saw right there, it just ran out, even though the 3 seconds weren't over. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, the weirdness of 7.07. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Somebody just brought up Lena. Alright, we're gonna test Lena. Create hero Lena. Enemy. I want to check if Laguna Blades works. Level bots 25. Right, who doesn't want to know if Laguna Blade works? Okay, do this. Nope, Laguna Blade does not work. Look, there's no real way of knowing. We just gotta make a list at some point. But anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed this. That was the weirdness of 7.07. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a rating on the video. We'll definitely appreciate that. And go check out my stream. I'm streaming a lot these days. Just playing Dota and shit all day. All day, every day. Frostivus custom games. Dota 2 custom games. Turbo mode. Suck my dick. I don't fucking know anything. I'll see you guys there. Goodbye.